Tom here, FlipAnythingUSA. So got a special guest here. I've got Tina Gordon. She's a mentee.
Hi.
And she just happened to be visiting out this area for spring break. So she called up, and we decided to have her in because she's actually one of my more successful mentees. Yeah, and one of the few women. Yeah.
Excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you, offering to come by and check it out.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about you a little bit. Not that many women in this business, and there should be, because the ones that I do know that are in the business have been doing fantastic. Mm-hmm. What did you start out doing for work?
When I started real estate, or when I started my life in general?
After high school or whatever.
After high
school. Or just tell us a little bit. I'd start anywhere you want. Whatever got you into real estate. Could be younger than that, for sure.
Yeah, so it really started in Wisconsin, where I'm originally from. I was born and raised in Wisconsin. My dad was a Marine, and we were always running around the woods. So I grew up in a town of 500 people called Star Prairie. And there's nothing out there but trees and land. And so I grew up, just doing all of that and being, on the land, basically. And as soon as I could, I got out of Wisconsin. I signed up for the military when I was a junior in high school.
Wow. What's that, 17?
17,
wow.
Yeah. So I knew my whole senior year, I could not wait to get out of Wisconsin. And now the ironic thing is I can't wait to get back because I love land so much. So there was so I went into the military right away. I excelled in the military, so my father had instilled a really good work ethic and a winning attitude. And he always said before I left, if they do 10, you do 12. If they do 5, you do 7.
Were you raised by your dad?
Yes, so I was born and raised in Wisconsin by my dad. I did have a stepmom, but my dad was really the main person who raised me and taught me things about trees and about the land and how to hunt and how to shoot and how to do all those things on the land. So
yeah, well, we're similar that way. My dad mostly raised me too. Okay. So they got to kind of be both parents,
right?
You know what I mean? They got to be both sides of it. And my dad did a good job. Sounds like your dad did too.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when I was a junior in high school, I basically enlisted. I signed up. I knew I was going to go to basic training at the end of my senior year. Could not wait to get out of Wisconsin. It was too small. I wanted the city life.
Little town,
very
I understand.
little. And so I was in the military for quite a while, almost a decade, and then I went into personal training. So personal training was awesome. I was one of the lead top personal trainers in San Antonio for females. I trained Spurs players' girlfriends and things like that.
Like fitness model stuff?
Oh, yeah, bodybuilding, bikini division. And so my mentor was Roland Gonzalez at a bodybuilding gym in San Antonio, and I did really, really well. I loved it. I made a lot of money, and I got all my own clients, so I was used to hustling. I was used to putting myself out there.
Oh, that's where you got some of your business chops, I guess. Huh?
Yes, and so I just learned a lot of things, and I think I developed a savviness for people and for opportunities and seeing opportunities where maybe other people wouldn't see. So once I had my daughter, I said, personal training, it's great. I love it. I'm good at it. Make a great living, but I need to be smarter about my time. And so I always knew I wanted to get into real estate. And so when I went into YouTube, I started to see your videos quite a bit.
Let me back you up just a little bit. What made you want to go into the military? Just to see more of the world?
No, I felt like it was a duty. I have a whole heritage of men and women who have been in the military, and I could not wait to kind of continue that tradition.
Oh, wow. Well, good for you. Well, I appreciate your service.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
And where were you based first?
So first I was in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and then I transferred to San Antonio, Texas at Lackland Air Force Base. Oh, and I was there for I was there a long time, about a decade. And then I still, lived in San Antonio and all of those good things. So I'm I'm a Texas veteran, and I'm very proud of it.
Wow, that's awesome. And so along the way, you had a child, got married.
I did.
Yeah.
I sure did. And I realized very quickly that I wanted that kind of work-life balance that everyone talks about, but I knew I was going to have to be willing to do things that I wasn't comfortable doing or get out of my comfort zone, which I'm already I like to do that. I'm a go-getter. Yeah. So I'm like, pick something I'm afraid of and I'll probably try it. And real estate was one of them. And I really felt like your book was really instrumental in not developing that fear. I just opened the book before we started here, and there was a section about what if, it doesn't go right, or what if it does go right,
Yeah,
so.
that's just fear. Yeah, I think that's probably on the fear chapter. Yeah, but so having a child gives you perspective. Like, I need to make some money, right? You start
Right.
thinking about that. I think a lot of kids are, are a wonderful blessing in many ways, but they sure give you perspective on all of a sudden, because once you have a child, if you never had a child, all of a sudden everything else is second. I mean, once you have a child, that's the most important thing to you.
Absolutely.
And then you start thinking about their security and all that sort of thing, and education, right?
Well, and they're continuing, like, how are they going to live, when I leave the earth? Like, will I leave them with, a business, or will I leave them with know-how? So there's some planning that goes into that. And I think real estate will never go out of style. And
No, it's been here forever.
yeah, and it's so my goal is to really teach my daughter and set her up for success based off of what I really learned in your book. It's all right there. So
That's awesome. Glad to hear it. It was actually part of my motivation, just trying to leave a little bit of a roadmap for my kids. I got 4, and they're some of them are getting interested in it, like I said, they do whatever they want. They're going to find whatever they want to do. But certainly they know how good real estate has been to this family.
if they need it, they know how to do it.
Everybody, that's the best thing about property. You'll make more money in a short time than you've ever could save in your whole lifetime.
Correct.
And you'll write, and the ability just to write checks for college and cars and stuff without financing. I mean, this is stuff that even filling a tank. I remember I come from dirt.
Right.
Dirt. I don't want to say dirt. I had a fantastic father, but we were poor.
Poor, me too.
We were
Same.
poor. I don't want to say dirt. That implies. I love my dad. He did a wonderful job, and my
Right.
mom too. But yeah, so you started getting into it, and was your first deal a land deal, or was it a structure?
No, it was a land deal. So I read your book twice, and I finally was like, okay, let me start getting some leads. So I found a way to get my leads, and I started reaching out. And sure enough, I got something under contract, and I did have enough money to double close on it.
Wow.
But I didn't. But it was a smaller parcel. It was smaller, but I ended up assigning it. And so I did a contract assignment. I went through title, all of that.
Wow.
And so I started that way. And then I just had, I started saving the money, and now I'm double closing, and I have private investors that.
And now, was that before or after the book?
That was, I want to say that was right after.
That's fantastic. So here's the book, by the way. Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. This is the book that Tina's referring to.
Absolutely.
And it's just a roadmap to how I've done it. And it's funny because and we'll catch up more with some of her stories, but it's like reliving my history when I hear some of the things that you go through and other students do.
Absolutely.
So you got this thing sold. You bought it before you closed it. You had it sold. You did what we call a double closing, meaning she had it resold to somebody at the same time she was buying it. One title,
Right.
One title policy saves
Yes.
money as well. And what'd you take away from that deal?
6,000 for the
$6,000.
first one.
That's fantastic. So yeah. So 6,000 on your first deal.
First one.
And then let's talk about the
I
next
like to talk about the numbers.
I do too. I love it because it's like it's like a big cart.
It is.
It's hard to get rolling, but once you get it rolling, it's hard to stop, and you just keep filling it up, and it gets heavier and more valuable. So
Absolutely. And the other thing in your book was the numbers thing. I think that's that's something that a lot of people struggle with. The 35% rule, anything that's basically 40% under, market value. I'm always just having those numbers in my mind. And so if you know your numbers, you can really do a lot, and you have bargaining power because you know what things can go for, and you know what someone's willing to pay.
yeah, and so what she's referring to is I hold a high standard. Profits, I mean, you got to have a high standard for money you want to make. If you hold your standards low, you can buy real estate all day. There's all kinds of people out there that pay full retail. You can't do that and make money. You're not going to get rich quick. You're going to get rich very slowly, and you might even bankrupt yourself if you make the wrong deal and you pay full retail. So she bought property under market, and that's what's in the book. I always reference people to buy it under market.
Absolutely.
35-40%. Now, it sounds easy, right? Well, it's not easy, but it is available. It does happen. It is out there. But if you don't hold your standard to that, you'll never hit it. you know?
Or if you keep moving your percentages, you have to kind of find something that works and stick with it.
Yeah, and listen, not to say that every property I bought hasn't been 35% under market,
Sure.
obviously. In fact, the more valuable they are, sometimes, I mean, the last house I bought was worth twice what I paid for it. And things like that happen. But it's easier, you can take a little less the richer you are.
Right.
You know, if you want to leverage and make it fast or, get there quickly, you just hold your standards a little higher, turn them, don't get married to a property, don't be stuck to it forever, because that you got to consider, like, how much cash did you use to make $6,000?
I want to say I paid $5,000 for it, and then market value was significantly higher. And the owner it was an out-of-state owner, and so I kind of negotiated. We only went back and forth once, but it was just very easy.
And you just let the seller make the offer, like I say in the book?
Yes, I did. I said, so, what are you willing to let it go for? Or, how much are you wanting for it? And I feel like as a female, that's a little bit of an advantage because their guard isn't up as much. And I'm just being very casual, and it's just kind of easy. Like, what do you want for it? Like, how much to take it off your hands for? And then once they kind of hear that you're for real and you're really going to buy it, they just want to get rid of it.
Yeah, a lot of people, it's just they try to fortune tell, and usually to their own demise. They imagine a scenario of they're going to hear a price too high.
Right.
They're going to want more than I want to pay for it. So I always let the seller make the offer, and there's a whole chapter on it, and that's what Tina's referring to, and it's a brief chapter, but
Correct.
It gets to the point. And those deals do exist. So applying that, you took $5,000. And you made $6,000.
Yes.
You doubled your money right off the bat.
Absolutely. And then that cycle continues and continues. And
Let's talk about the second deal.
sure. Second deal, I want to say it wasn't, I only did 2 assignments. That one was also an assignment, but then of course my father, doing, if you did 6 last time, you need to do like 10. And that's what I did. I made 10,000 on the next one.
Nice.
And then from there, my goals have just gotten bigger and bigger.
Well, and your wallet got bigger, so you could afford to buy a bigger property each time, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. And so what was the first property? I'm sorry to back up. Was it a lot? Was it a piece of acreage? Was it a half acre, acre? Just so people know.
They were both lots.
Okay.
So they were both lots. I don't think I've only done land so far.
Within a subdivision of other places were built here and there?
Yes, so I do have 2 counties and specific areas within those counties that I like to focus on. There are areas that I'm familiar with, that I've driven before, so I know kind of the unique features to those neighborhoods. And so I just stick to that. And there's always a way to make money. The other day I drove out to one of my markets, and just walked the property like you do in your videos and all of that. And you think you would be able to see what it was from an aerial view, but when I walked out to it, there was an abandoned building, and I'm like, this is money. Yeah. So there's just things like that from the book that are just indispensable, and it sounds like common sense, but if you just do the work and follow the blueprint, you will make money. It's
just show up. Just show up. It's really like just show up and go through and follow those principles and those foundations, and
you're going to make money. Yes. Yeah. So it's been great.
Okay, so two deals down, you got 15,000 you've made so far. What'd you do next?
Then I kind of set my sights on larger properties, and so I went from smaller parcels and smaller lots to 1 acre, 3 acres. And then that next one I got was it was 3.5 acres. It was in a very nice neighborhood in the area in my target market. So I knew that there were builders, builders would be interested in the lot. I knew that there was a certain market for that area. And then I put all of that money into that lot, and that one I purchased for, do you want me to say the numbers?
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that one I purchased for approximately 40,000. And I sold it for $75,000.
Oh, damn! Another $35,000.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Look at that, 55, and that's all inside about 1 year right now.
I'm losing track of time at this point, but it's about 1.5 years ago. No, I'm so sorry.
The time between the deals from one deal to the
Got
last.
it. Well, they kind of overlap, but I try to give myself like that 60 days or 45 days to close. That way I'm not losing track of things aren't going too long. I don't want my money tied. I can't afford to. Like, I wouldn't want my money tied up into properties. I got to get them rolling fast, turn them over faster.
That's fantastic. That's amazing. And it's that quick. But you looked at every property you bought. You didn't buy blindly. You might have, you looked, inspected. It's really important, folks. So many people get burned that will buy blindly or try to buy just off Google Maps, and the nightmares that can ensue are terrible. And there's a lot of people that they once you spend your seed capital on something like that, and you can't get rid of it. Now your money's tied up forever. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Never even see it again. Mm-hmm. So.
And having a team helps, even like as a female, if I don't feel comfortable, for example, with, certain drainage issues or whatever it may be. I know I'm obviously not an engineer or anything like that. So I'm not afraid to call people is what I'm trying to say. Like, I'll call the county. I'll call, you've been indispensable for information and just life experience when it comes to that. And also just realtors and just not being afraid.
So when you say
the
team,
phone.
you just mean the available resources.
Right. The available resources that I know and trust. Right. It doesn't necessarily mean like a contract, but I know I can depend on certain title companies and certain agents and certain private investors that I have.
Yeah, and that's professionals that have their expertise where they have it. Yeah.
And they all are money minded but with integrity. So that's been really, really good. Really very indispensable.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. You've done 3 deals. In that, you've done more
in
than
that time frame.
But in that time frame, she did her first 3 deals, $55,000 cash. Mm-hmm. And boy, that opens up the door, doesn't it?
It does.
Do so much more.
Even 3,000. So even if you start small, just keep compounding your money and add it. And
but so just think about that. You started with $5,000, for your seed capital for this endeavor, and now a year and a half later, $55,000, and we know you've done more. But so 10 times, turn 5 into 55 over 18 months. So.
And the title of your YouTube channel is Flip Anything. Yep. So when I first saw it, I was like, I can flip anything. So I started selling some stuff that I had and just stuff that I wasn't using and things like that. And sure enough, there was one deal I had where the lot came with an RV and a shed and a dog kennel. So nice. I was like, okay, I know what I'm going to do here. So I I had a friend of mine who knows more about those things go out there as well and kind of look at it and say, hey, this is worth this, and hey, this is worth that, and then show me, how to kind of run my numbers or help me. And now it was just quick, so I could either, sell the lot as a package deal, or if I was going to make more, basically separating the parcel from the RV. Yep. So there are just options when you have stuff like that.
So you picked up some cash off the sale of those. Chris just did the same thing. He bought a property with a trailer, and he sold the trailer, I think, for $5,000 or $3,000. It was something.
It's something,
What was the conditions that they would give you an RV? Because that's a portable.
Okay, so
you asked for it, maybe, or
this is great. So the owner, from the list I had. So the owner I had contacted, he had a smaller lot in like a vacation style subdivision. However, he was, I guess he did hunting in Africa, and he was from Houston, and he had like a $45,000 RV, like 5th wheeler on the property, utilities set up. Everything was perfect, pristine, landscaped. But you would never think that like a person, at his echelon would be in this community that I'm targeting. Yeah. So it was kind of like a diamond in the rough. And he's like, listen, I got a hunt in Africa in about 2 weeks, and I need to get rid of this. And so I asked him, well, how much would you like for it? And some of the numbers get a little blurry because it was a while ago, but I know that he sold the RV to me for $20,000, and I sold it approximately at 40 something.
Dang.
So, and then the lot itself already had improvements. I mean, they weren't improvements like septic or utilities, but it had like a very nice dog kennel on it. It had a shed where he had his Harley. He was selling that too. I didn't get my hands on that one, but I wanted to. But there was just so much opportunity on the land, and so I used what I learned from
you
your
made
book.
It easy for him, though, right? He
Totally.
wanted to get rid of everything.
Totally cash deal. He wanted to get rid of everything quickly, and he had his hunt, and by darn, he just wanted his money before he left. He had enough money where he didn't care how much You just want to get rid of it.
Yeah. No, you got to make it easy for people. I stress this in the mentorship. Make it as easy as possible for the seller. If they want to sell everything, buy everything, take everything. People confound their deals by doing too much negotiating up front and worrying about the small stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you want to listen, you got an RV, I'll take it.
Yes.
If I can, if you're going to charge me a little bit more, but
Right.
I can tell,
Or
just
find a
make it
buyer.
easy. If the house is full of crap, a lot of people, there's death, inheritance is one of the most squandered assets out there.
Absolutely.
And people got a house full of stuff they don't want to deal with. You say, just leave it. I'll take it all. Make it easy. Make it super easy for the people that are getting rid of the asset, and you'll flourish. In fact, I just bought one. I just bought a house. In fact, I bought the van. Made $6,000 on the van, actually,
nice.
too.
Okay.
So I bought a house that came with a van, and I just made it easy. I said, leave everything. In fact, and they left. They left everything that they didn't want to take. In fact, they're from Wisconsin, by the way.
Oh, are they?
Yeah,
Okay.
they were, actually. And they came out. They had to deal with there was a brother estate that he had passed.
Sure.
And sure enough, so I took the van. I got a bunch of tools out of it. I got records, all these old. Not that I'm an album collector, but I know people that are, and they're having fun.
You'd be amazed at what people just leave behind, or they just don't care.
Yeah.
They don't want to mess. I mean, the stress that they would have dealing with that problem is, worth you just take, worth $5,000 taking a hit or whatever it might be. But I mean, and I think that's a great point, is making things really easy for your sellers, especially, if they're, sometimes they're very stressed out, like they've had this property, maybe they can't afford the taxes, and you come along and you're a problem solver for them, and you try to be helpful. And if there was one seller I had, the fence was in disarray on this lot, and I said, don't you worry about it. I see dead trees. My brother is a logger. I know how to handle that. Like I can fix those problems for you and buy as is. So, and they are much more appreciative. They don't, care more. They care more about your kindness and your willingness to help.
Yeah, and I make friends. Every time I buy a property, I make a new friend, and I'm
Absolutely.
sure you do the same. People go in there and they beat up the seller. They offend the seller before they even have a deal.
Yeah.
That's so silly, Anyways, I see people, cutting their throat all the time with poor negotiating. But so if you get the book, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate, start there, folks, with the mentorship. Tina's in the mentorship, and like I say, any question anybody's ever had, they can always get a hold of me by text. I respond quickly. It's important. It helps. It's the difference getting the deal or not a lot of times.
And it's actually you. It's not just some, it's not your secretary.
It's not some kid that works for me. I understand.
You're authentic. And that's one thing that comes through in the book and the YouTube channel, and even just meeting you in person, is the authenticity and your helpfulness and all of those good things. So we appreciate you,
Well,
Tom.
I am proud of you. I mean, really, you're a fantastic student, but also the fact that you're a woman, the fact that we don't have that many women in the class,
Right.
is, it's a testament to, that,
and that's something I guess maybe we can touch on, because I feel like women sometimes don't give themselves enough credit. And I'm not a feminist by any means. Like, I definitely believe in being, handling your business in a way consistent with, your femininity. So you don't have to act like a guy to make money in this, industry. And I just feel like there's so many smart women, and you have to have a can-do attitude. You cannot be afraid of someone yelling at you. But it takes guts. You have to have guts, like, to do this, and just have a very can-do attitude, I think, would be what I would say about that. So you can do it.
Well, and it's not limited to, like I say, I'm not sure why we have so few women, but I can say the qualities I've seen in you and other people that are in the class have been just fantastic. And,
Thank you.
And listen, and believe me, it's not like women are at any disadvantage whatsoever. And believe me, men feel the same way. I got plenty of men that have no confidence when they come in. The next thing you know, they have a ton of confidence. Once you get your first deal and you make a profit, you're just going to be going, wow, can I actually really make it happen again?
Yeah.
Isn't that really the pressure that goes on? You go, did that really happen? It seems surreal.
It does.
And then you make it happen again and again and again. And pretty soon you realize, you know what? This is going to go on for as long as I want it to.
And family starts to have, your friends and family see you doing these, doing your deals and doing these transactions. And it's not about the money necessarily. It's about your ability to follow through and make it happen. And so a lot of times, when I started, and I have an aunt Teresa. I'll give her a shout out. She saw me really being successful, and she was mentoring me, and her husband, my uncle Butch. They would kind of see what I was doing throughout time, and then next thing you know, they were friends and family are willing to kind of help you and
They're
back
like, hey,
you.
can I get in on this?
Like, hey, I have some money to park over here, and I have many other colleagues that I've worked with.
I know somebody wants to sell a place, even better, right?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. That too. When I'm driving around, just on Saturday, Sunday, I was with a friend of mine and just looking at property for him, and an older gentleman came out, and it was a rural neighborhood. And he just wanted to talk. And so he was an Air Force vet. He was in his 80s or whatever. And I said, how many acres do you live on? And he's like, 3.5. I said, do you want to sell it? He goes, not now, but I know someone else that wants to sell their property.
That's perfect. That is a perfect scenario. Exactly what she is saying is something that I've repeated many times over. Yeah. What else you got?
I mean, and so he and I exchanged information, and it was just a nice experience with him because he's like, well, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. And it was just, it's fun. It's fun.
It really is fun.
Just ask questions. There's no shame in that. You can say no.
No, that's fantastic. And you're still so young, and you got, you're going to be making money. I mean, you're making money at such a young age, and you're just going to continue to do so. When I was 25, people thought I was a drug dealer because of all the assets that I'd had. And I'm like, no. But I don't tell them exactly what I was doing back then because it really, it's that lucrative. Real estate is more lucrative than drugs, kids. If you're selling drugs. Change gears. Real estate's way better and legal and more profitable.
Right, very profitable.
Yeah.
The other benefit, if I may say, is you don't have to be on social media like crazy. Like I the only reason I'm on YouTube is usually to like watch your live videos or other things that I like to watch. But you don't have to. When I was a personal trainer, for example, you had to put your before and after pictures of your clients out there, yourself. And this allows you kind of a lifestyle where you can be as anonymous as you want to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. It's like the Millionaire Next Door. There's a book out there. I've just never read it, but it's like, it's just, there's plenty of people that have significant amount of wealth. That would be kind of like me, that I just kind of go unnoticed until people, they'll realize you own the strip center that, they realize, they see, why are you working here? Why are you working on that? Why are you picking trash up in your parking lot? Well, it's my parking lot. Oh, wow. So these are the things that happen. But man, that's fantastic. Tina, I appreciate you sharing.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So folks, listen, don't second guess yourself. Anybody can do this stuff. I didn't finish high school. I'm not saying I was dumb by any means, but I didn't finish high school. I got in early. I was making money. I mean, the kids weren't even out of college. The friends that I had that went to college, I was, by the time they got out of college, they were several $100,000 in debt. I was several $100,000 cash
in the green.
In the bank. Yeah, exactly. So, but anyhow, man, really appreciate you.
Thank you so much. And we appreciate you, Tom, because you've done a great job. I know you've helped a lot of people who
it's fun. And in the mentorship, folks, you should see, because, we'll have 40, 50 people in there sometimes. And just like Tina, everybody's discussing their deals, discussing their wins, discussing the ones that they missed by this much, and it just keeps everybody inspired and working. But it reinforces the fact that you can do it. You really can do it. It's not that tough. And but you do, like I say, you got to show up. You got to do the work. Yeah. And but it doesn't compare to work. I mean, you'll make more in one deal than you make in months or maybe even years of working and saving. So how hard is that?
Well, I mean, and you have to look at, and another thing I learned in your book, return on investment. Would you rather, work a job from 9 to 5, even 5 days a week and, make 30 grand, or would you rather have a really stressful, maybe it's stressful, maybe it's not, but get a deal, work it for 60 days. Yeah. And maybe it is stressful, maybe it is terrible, but so what? Like at the end of that 60 days, you're going to make 30 grand, for example. So it's just, you have to, if that's not motivating, I don't know what is.
Yeah, listen, the kind of stress she's talking about is like the stress under the Christmas tree. You got this package, you're going to open it up, or like an envelope from grandma. You don't know how much cash is in there. It's a good stress. It's a good stress. Yes. It's like Christmas every time you make a deal, or it should be. And anyways, Well, that's great. Well, thanks. We're going to share this out, folks. And
Sounds good.
Go to FlipAnythingUSA.com or, FlipAnythingUSA.com. The book, you can get on Amazon, Kindle, and Paperback. And, just start there. Start with $10-20. And then let that take if you feel good, if you want to take it to another level, get on the mentorship. But you don't need it. You can do it even just with the book. But get started. You got to get started. Yeah, otherwise life goes quick, and like I say, you've already got you're gonna have your kids set up, going to college, and all that great stuff that you want to do. And so thanks for sharing. It really means a lot.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being here. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Yo, stop and listen. Time is on a mission to eliminate all of the snake oil and the fake gurus that fake y'all. He'll show you how to build an empire, starting with nothing but a desire. All you really need is a good mentor, not a used car bullshit. With time, you'll learn to crush it. Investing like Warren Buffett. With real estate, you cannot procrastinate. Everyone who hesitates is left at the starting gate.